G'day and welcome back to the channel. We've had a break, we've had some caffeine, time to continue the climb. So yeah, we're still running with the rain team from Cecily. I haven't made any changes as of yet. It's performing admirably. It got us through our Ultra Ball rank 2. Let's see if it can get us through Ultra Ball rank 1 into Master Ball. And our first opponent faces has Garaf, Sneasler, Charizard, Melodic. So you're not likely to see the Mega Meganium this round, but I reckon Archeliodon Pelipper is definitely the lead to go, or we go with our Basculegion. It's just the Sneasler I'm a little bit worried about, but I think we lead with the Basculegion and the Pelipper, because that'll force if they decide to go with the Sneasler. Then hopefully we try and maintain weather. And we'll bring our Dragonite. And do we bench the Sneasler or do we take it? Are they going to Meganium? I think we've got enough coverage for the Meganium. So I think let's go with that. They could just as likely lead with Charizard and go turn 1 Drought. So in that case, we'll need to get our Pelipper out of there. But the Farigiraf is worrying. So try and cover for that. I don't know if they've run out of time or locked in at the last second, but let's see what they decided to lead with. They've got a few modes on their team. We are both on 2 win streaks, and they are a Scizor Admirer. So Sylveon and Farigiraf, so likely to see some round Hyper Voice type stuff. So let us... They're not going to be able to shut down our rain this turn. So we'll do what we did last turn. That was quite effective. We'll try and double into their Farigiraf, but it used Protect. So they're going to try and Hyper Voice us out of existence. Or Moonblast us. So yeah, they saw us doubling, and I think we had to. Like turn 1, we were very threatened by their speed control. And we weren't sure if they were or weren't going to do it. They didn't. But now that gets them a Calm Mind up on their Sylveon, which we really didn't bring an answer for. So I think we, in this scenario, put a bit of pressure on their Sylveon and Farigiraf, but they've withdrawn. So we see the Melodic, so that's going to eat a Wave Crash, and we're not going to be able to do... Oh no, we'll do about 69% damage to their Melodic, and we'll be able to Tailwind their... Yeah, okay, so we're at the moment faster than their Sylveon. Not going to do much damage, hoping to try and get a bit of chip down. So this is where Duraludon comes in handy, or Archulodon, because now we can start threatening Electro Shots. I reckon a Hurricane will pick up the Melodic. So we'll Hurricane the Melodic, and we could even Flash Cannon. But I reckon that is going to do some big damage, plus get us a special attack. So if we don't KO this turn, we can at least KO next turn. So yeah, they didn't decide to do anything for their Farigiraf. Maybe bring that back in later. So whether they go for another Calm Mind again, I mean, we're only doing 19% on a Hurricane. But let's see what a Electro Shot does. because we'll get the special attack bonus, which is nice, and that's going to help against their Calm Mind, so that gives us a bit of extra damage. Decent. But then the Icy Wind comes out, and that's going to slow us down and take out our Pelipper. So this is going to be a single target Hyper Voice. We lose the speed. Hyper Voice. Ooh, that is big damage. Okay, so yeah, that certainly caught us out. I don't know if Dragonite's going to have enough gusto. That Sylveon we underestimated. We were a bit focused on the Giraffe. We're obviously not going to Draco Meteor. Best we got is to see if a Hurricane will pick up the KO, but with Pixelate, Hyper Voice +1, we've got Multiscale. But I don't think Dragonite's going to be able to clean up their entire backfield. But we can at least see what a Hurricane would have done to a +1 Calm Mind. They're obviously, special defensive walled. Because from Pelipper, this only did 20%. So unless we crit here and we don't Hyper Voice and an Icy Wind, that'll get rid of our Multiscale. And then Hyper Voice will take us out. So game 1, absolutely annihilated by Sylveon. Sneasler was the choice to bring here. I underestimated the Sylveon. So again, learning, piloting, experience. So we'll take that going forward. Sylveon is a genuine threat. But again, so is Trick Room. So we'll start at rank 1 from the bottom, and we'll go again. Up against Mute. Let's see what type of team they have. Sand. Very sandy with Incineroar. So I think we're definitely going to try and lead with Sneasler. And our Basculegion. Because that'll give us opportunity to flip turn into Pelipper. And then it is a question of... No, it's not a question. We just bring Mega Meganium. Because Mega Meganium should be able to clean up Rotom, Corviknight, the Tyranitar, and the Excadrill. So we've got to use our forces to try and defeat mainly the Incineroar, really. We've got Dragonite and Archeludon, but Mega Meganium's going to be doing significant work here. So let's go with this. See if they lead with Tyranitar. If they do, they've got the option to obviously Mega Tyranitar or Mega Excadrill. Haven't come across many, if any, of those. So most likely going to be the Mega Tyranitar. So we're going to have a bit of a battle for weather. But let's hopefully cover that with our Sneasler Basculegion lead. They are on a 3-win streak. So let's see if we can shut that down or contribute. Okay, so they're just straight up leading into sand. Very interesting. I think we need to try and fake out the Excadrill, because that's worrying and also could potentially break the Sash. And then let's just go full hog into the Tyranitar with a Wave Crash. So yeah, we get the fake out. So that'll block the Excadrill from doing something, which is probably Sand Rush. So if that cleans up, and it does, we can now swap into Pelipper next turn, and they're not going to have the extra speed from Sand Rush. So that's going to put us at a huge disadvantage, just sacrificing their Tyranitar like that, which I can only assume was also their Mega, right? Because I didn't see anything else on their team that would have been Mega viable. So we see the Sinistra come out, which will restore the Focus Sash, which is pretty cool. But let's Dire Claw, because we're going to be expecting a Rage Powder, which we are susceptible to on Sinistra. That also then resets the weather, which will hopefully slow the Excadrill down. And then, yeah, they're not able to set that back up. So Rage Powder, as we expected. We should be, yeah, jolly and fast. So Dire Claw should, wow, not do a lot of damage. And we don't get any of the bonus. And High Horsepower will clean up our Sneasler. But that is okay with us, because we can now get our Meganium in, who has 100 speed, and our Pelipper. So we're going to move first. So let's get our Mega Meganium in the rain. And let's try and Weather Ball their Sinistra, which will convert to fire. And that should allow us to Weather Ball, or do we Tailwind here? I think we just Weather Ball. Hopefully the Weather Ball from Meganium in the sun cleans up the Sinistra. I think we've seen it done in a previous battle, so there is hope. But they're going to lead with a Rock Slide, so they've got a speed advantage. So maybe it would be good to try and get that Tailwind up. Meganium flinched, which is unfortunate. There's the Machigacha, which we survive. Hopefully we can at least get our Weather Ball off. Otherwise a double flinch is going to be absolutely devastating to our strategy. Yeah, Sinistra gets all the life back. We at least get our Weather Ball off, so we'll see if this is sashed or not. And it is, as we expected it to be. So, with that in mind now, let us try and Dazzling Gleam. Meganium can eat the Rock Slide, Pelipper cannot, so we'll just protect a turn and see if we can pick up the Excadrill on a Dazzling Gleam. Because yeah, I'd expect same again from them. It's the Rock Slide. Could also miss Meganium this time. That would be nice. It doesn't, but again, we're just hoping not to get the flinch here. There's the Dazzling Gleam, so that'll pick up the Excadrill. So Excadrill and Tyranitar down. They've got Sinistra and something left in the back. So they've got more Machigacha. It's going to do a bit of damage to the Meganium. We're going to take some burn damage. And we get to see what else they decided to bring in the back. Okay, so it is Incineroar. So we do want to try and protect our Pelipper, because I think Rain's only got a couple of turns left. So let's protect for a turn, and if we get our Basculegion out, is the Machigacha gonna... I think we should be alright. We've still got the Rain going, so let's take this time to pivot. I reckon Pelipper should be able to take out the Incineroar, but I think keeping the Rain is going to be super important. So there's the fake out into Meganium. We'll see another Machigacha into our Basculegion. Big damage, but we do survive. So we could try and Wave Crash the Incineroar, but we are going to instead Dazzling Gleam, and if we last respects the Incineroar, because if we lock into Wave Crash, I think we last respects. Got 100 base power. We were going to Dazzling Gleam, which should do a bit of spread. They might Rage Powder here. So if we lock into Wave Crash, the Sinistra would redirect the Basculegion's Wave Crash, which obviously won't do a lot to Sinistra. So I think locking into Last Respects here is the correct choice. We got 100 base power, heaps, big damage. And then, yeah, we've still got Pelipper in the back because Rain will end this turn, but we get Dazzling, single target Gleam off. Not huge. We see a Flare Blitz in the sun. Is enough to take out our Meganium. which unfortunately I think blocks our rain strategy. No, rain has stopped, so excellent. That lets us get Pelipper in, reset the rain. Unfortunately, we can't swap to Wave Crash here, but that does give us access to our Weather Ball and our now 150 base power Last Respects. So it's Incineroar versus 2. Pretty slow Incineroar. Our Meganium was faster, so we're just hoping again that that low Pelipper speed is enough to outspeed their Incineroar. But we get the Last Respects off. This should do decent damage. So yeah, if we don't get the Weather Ball off, but we do, and that'll seal the deal. So good match from them. But yeah, that turn one, just losing Tyranitar and Excadrill like that was pretty risky. They didn't leave them any Mega Evolutions, so that'll be the end of their win streak. Good game. Alright, we are starting from the bottom. 1 up. Let's go. We are now against Fernie. And they have a team of... bit of sand. They've got the Tyranitar, they've got Mega Delphox, they've got Sizzle and Mimikyu, so they've potentially got access to some Trick Room shenanigans. What do we... I think we lead with our Sneasler, because that's going to give us a lot of options, unless they lead with Delphox. So that's when we Basculegion with Pelipper in the back. Then it becomes a question. I think we have to again Meganium here. So our focus will be to use Rain to try and neutralize the Delphox. Meganium should pick up a fair bit. Meganium's got to do the heavy lifting here. So again, we've got to try and see how much we can take down from their team with our Rain Core to allow Meganium to sweep in the end game. So Dragonite and Mimikyu. So what's their play here? We can try and double on the Mimikyu. And I think we will. We don't need to Last Respects. Do we need to Last Respects? We'll go first. So our flip turn will proc or get rid of their Disguise. Yeah, I think we flip turn on their Mimikyu, break the Disguise, and hope that Sneasler's Diaclaw can do the rest. It was even a crit. That would have been nice. They didn't Mega Evolve Dragonite, so they might go for a Tailwind here. But this lets us get our Pelipper in. Hopefully they didn't go for Hurricane, otherwise we've just given them 100% accuracy. But we get the Diaclaw off, not enough to KO. We do get a Poison. So likely a Trick Room here. No, they just Shadow Clawed. Righto. And Flamethrowered in the rain. Oh, this is not going well for them. Because, yeah, the Poison's going to be enough to take the Mimikyu out. So now we just focus on the Dragonite. So, again, we'll not overly threatened by what they've got going, but we will Tailwind, because that gives us a bit of speed control in the late game. So yeah, Shadow Sneak to try and pick up a KO here, but not enough. We get the Diaclaw out, break their multi-scale. Draco Meteor on probably the Pelipper, and that'll shut down our Tailwind. But will this... so there's the Mimikyu. Do they get to pick before us? Because their Mimikyu went down? No, we pick at the same time. I I think Meganium's going to be a good option here, unless they're going to Tyranitar right now, which would put us at a disadvantage. But we see their Basculegion come in. So what do we do? What do we do? I reckon we protect on our Sneasler. We're likely to not to see a Wave Crash or a Last Respects. They might try and go into that. And then they've Draco Meteored. So I reckon a Solar Beam into the Basculegion. Because again, they've got Flamethrower on Dragonite, but it's not Mega Dragonite. Multiscale's broken, and we've got a Rain for a couple more turns. So we'll see if this works out. So yeah, Sneasler protects. We'll hopefully try and bait an attack. We see the flip turn blocked. Excellent. So that'll allow us to get our Solar Beam off. Because yeah, Neg 2 Ice Beam from Dragonite's not doing much. Didn't get the freeze, so we get to fire off a 1-turn Solar Beam on their Basculegion. So the protect was super useful there because that allowed us to keep the Basculegion in and allowed our Solar Beam to connect. So, and that'll force now Dragonite can't switch and swatch. So they're locked in now. We'll just check. So we've got a couple more Rains a turn. Let us, we're not overly, if we can get, all we need now is Meganium to get a Weather Ball off onto the Sizzle. Do we do it now? Do we wait? I think we go now. So it is Mega Sizzle. Again, we've got to keep the pressure up. It's 3v2 at the moment. We've got Basculegion in the back, threatening a pretty hefty Last Respects if we can get that in. Because yeah, Sneasler's fastest on the board, then the Dragonite, not doing much damage with that Ice Beam. Hopefully we're faster than the Sizzle, and we are. And again, this is Fire Weather Ball, so that'll one-hit KO. And yeah, didn't even need the Basculegion in the back. So yeah, having Mega Meganium, you know, with the sun at all times is super beneficial in the rain. So again, that synergy that you can't really calculate on a bit of paper. So that'll put us on a 2-win streak. We'll need a couple more to get us through to Master Ball. But again, we can just see how synergistic teams perform in doubles over our, you know, calculated type teams. But we've got our next opponent, maybe Anthony. That's how you would unabbreviate that, or maybe it is unabbreviated. They have got quite the team. So again, we're seeing Whimsicott. They don't have any weather other than their Frostlass, which could set up the snow. So maybe we turn 1 Sneasler Basculegion with Pelipper in the back. I don't think this is a Meganium fight, or is it? We just got to try and get rid of the Sneasler and Frostlass. So bit of a tall order, but I reckon if we can get our Tailwind up, so I think in that scenario then we're going to want to try and lead with our Tailwind. Yeah, I'm not sure Dragonite. We've also got access to Duraludon. Let's completely change our strategy. Let's go with our Sneasler. No, we're going to change the Sneasler out for Archeludon. Yeah, I reckon that's the play. Because yeah, that'll either force them into Snow or force them into Garchomp. But we'll see. We're on our 2-win streak, hoping to make it a 3. So Whimsicott and Kangaskhan. So it could be a Mega Kangaskhan. It could be, you know, Fake Out Last Resort. But in this scenario, do we protect to preserve the Scarf? Or do we try and I think we hire a Tailwind, and we just try and get some big damage on their Kangaskhan with an Electro Shot. So that'll force them to... so yeah, there we see the fake out on the Pelipper. They've light screened. Interesting. So yeah, we'll get our +1 Electro Shot off in the rain. So this should do decent damage, but yeah, the light screen is obviously going to negate half of it. But again, we get that +1 bonus, and that's enough to do half. So next turn, we're KOing their Kangaskhan if they don't do something about it. So now we can Tailwind. They can't threaten us with Encore, so they've got to likely try and Tailwind us in return. So let's try and... we should be able to survive a last resort from them if that's the build that they've decided to go. But they've decided to swap out, so this is likely where we see Garchomp come in. And that is okay. So they're going to Encore us and lock us into the Electro Shot, which isn't terrible. We still get the plus bonus. But we'll get our Tailwind up, and so will they next turn. They could also... okay, so now that we've seen Encore, if we stay in with Pelipper, they're likely going to Encore us again. So let's not stay in with Pelipper. And good opportunity to get our Meganium in, I think. So we'll get our Meganium in, and we'll just keep Electro-Shotting, but we'll go on the Whimsicott. They could easily Earthquake here, but we can't protect. I don't really want to switch the Basculegion in at this stage. So if we get our Mega Meganium in, they'll bait the Encore onto the Tailwind, so we covered for that. We get our Electroshot off onto the Whimsicott, so we're at +2. So double damage, or double special attack. So should do a bit of damage. There you go. Not bad. And then, yeah, we're expecting an Earthquake or a Stomping Tantrum. Righto. So that'll take us down to 1. But now we're threading with a Dazzling Gleam in return. So let's see. Probably only have a few more turns of Rain left. So we'll definitely Mega. We'll definitely Dazzling Gleam. They could just as easily try another Stomping Tantrum or a Poison Jab. I reckon we bring Basculegion out, save Duraludon for a bit later. Or do we just say, nah, we'll save it for a bit later. We'll get our Basculegion in. I'm expecting them to maybe Tailwind at this point. But let's see what they do. So yeah, there's the Tailwind. Maybe another Stomping Tantrum. Just a Rock Slide. Okay, so yeah, that was going to be able to clean up. So hopefully we don't flinch. We get the Dazzling Gleam off. Garchomp has a Roselli Berry, so that'll do half damage. Unfortunately not enough to pick up the Whimsicott. Again, I don't think we're going to be able to be super effective with our... we just need to stall out a turn. So what are we going to do? Let's Last Respects. Now their Garchomp. Yeah, I reckon we try and put a bit of pressure on their Garchomp. They might switch back into Kangaskhan here. They might stay in. They might forget we have Tailwind up for a turn. So we get our Last Respects off. That'll hopefully put us in range of the Dazzling Gleam. Moonblast from the Whimsicott. We'll do a bit of damage. We lose special attack. Another Rock Slide here. Again, we know we're surviving Rock Slide, so they're just fishing for flinches at the moment, but they get one. And that's going to block our strategy. Although, we're not in a terrible position to potentially try that again. We do lose the... Okay, so let's get Duraludon. Let's get Duraludon in. And we'll last respects their Garchomp again. They've got Tailwind more than us this turn, so again, we're expecting potentially another Moonblast, another Rock Slide. But they've withdrawn, so Kangaskhan comes back out. We're withdrawing Meganium to get our Archeliodon in. Another Rock Slide will pick up the KO on our Archeliodon, but hopefully our Last Respects connects. It does. Excellent. So this should be enough to KO the Garchomp. So we're having to pivot around here. But we get our Pelipper back in, which was a goal. So we get our Pelipper back in, set the rain back up. We should see their Whimsicott come back. No, we see Frostlass. Okay. So we're now threatened by Fake Out, so we'll protect that. And they've got Tailwind for a turn. So this is where we pivot our Meganium in. So yeah, I'm expecting the Mega Frostlass. A big Blizzard will certainly do a lot of damage. Trying to stall out their Tailwind at the moment so our Basculegion can come in. But I don't think I'm doing a very good job. But they could just as easily protect here, but I don't see why they wouldn't just Fake Out and Blizzard or Freeze Dry. So it's probably a bad switch in for us. But we get our Protect up. They went for the Fake Out onto... So they did kind of expect a switch there, and they went for a Blizzard, which does not miss in the snow. And that'll, yeah, KO our Meganium. And then, yeah, we can't lock into our Last Respects now because of the Kangaskhan. But they've lost their Tailwind. And yeah, Wave Crash is just going to KO us on the Connect. So I think the best thing we can do, we get Ice Weather Ball. I think that's actually what we're going to have to do. Ice Weather Ball the Kangaskhan. And hopefully our Pelipper can take down the Kangaskhan. I think that's the play. Because I don't know if their Kangaskhan can take out our Basculegion, but I also don't know if we saw any move other than Fake Out from Kangaskhan to determine whether it is the, what is it? Last Resort. And it is. And with Scrappy, that, yeah, picks up our Basculegion. So, unless this Weather Ball Ice does big damage, I think we've lost this one. Yeah, alright, we'll call it at that. Yeah, certainly got outmaneuvered early on then. The Garchomp. And yeah, so that's alright. I think, yeah, I don't know if Dragonite was going to be doing any better in that scenario. And we left Sneasel on the bench. Oh, the date has changed. Righto, so we're back at the title. That's okay. So we're now on a new day, new announcements, new missions. Daily missions have reset. But let's get back into where we were. So yeah, some potential changes. I'd definitely make the Basculegion jolly. I'd be keen to get the Pelipper with a bit better speed. Everything else is not terrible, does alright. And yeah, we've got nothing on that. But we've got a new opponent, Seal. We've got Mega Halucha. So we're going to see some entrainment fissures. So I think we need to try and make sure that we cover for this going in. And the way we do that is we pick flying Pokemon. Ideally, we'd take Mega Meganium here, but with flyers, we're less susceptible. So yeah, we've got... Who we got left? I think we need to take our Basculegion. So this could be cool. They'll Mega Halucha and entrainment the No Guard onto either their Snorlax or Excadrill. They've got Sinistra for the redirects and the Trick Room to get Snorlax fastest on the field. And then they're just going to be trying to bulk fissure Okoa. But it depends what they decide to lead with. But yeah, fissure is a ground move. So even if 100% accurate, doesn't hit flying. It's something I'm definitely been keen to have a go, the Oko team. If that's something you'd like to see on the channel, leave it in the comments below and we can queue up a team. So our goal is to try and get rid of their Mega Halucha really quickly. And they could just as easily turn one Fake Out here, turn one Protect. But I think we're pretty slow. We can Fake Out. I think if we Fake Out and Tailwind, we're going to be in a better position next turn. So, yeah, there's the Mega Evolution. So, see if they Protect. They do not. So, we get the Fake Out. So, they're likely just going to try and 30% fissure us. They connect. Righto. Fair enough. So now this is where we bring our Mega Dragonite in and just start Hurricane spamming. So yeah, Dragonite comes in. So now Fissure's redundant. So yeah, we just start throwing Hurricanes all over the place. I don't even think we're overly threatened by entrainment at the moment, so I'd say we just weather ball the Excadrill. And yeah, so we see Excadrill leave, Snorlax comes in. So that's going to be their special wall. They could likely try and do an entrainment before they go if they survive a Mega Dragonite Hurricane. But this is modest. Super effective stab. Yeah, that'll clean up. So this is one of the foils of their strategy. Losing Mega Halucha. We get our Weather Ball up. So, yeah, not going to be doing huge damage to their Snorlax, but we'll have to keep the pressure on, because if that starts stockpiling, we're going to be in a world of hurt. So we could see the Excadrill come back, or we could see what else they have in the back here. So yeah, we see the Excadrill come back. So I think we keep the Hurricane pressure on, try and get a confusion on the Snorlax. But again, we're just trying to keep the damage up. There we go, that's pretty good damage. We get the Weather Ball off, see if this is Focus Sashed. It is, as we expected, so... But again, they're not going to be able to launch any fissures from this angle. But they try anyway, a Horn Drill. And there's the stockpiles that we need to be mindful of. So again, you can see how pivotal Tailwind and Speed Control is in this scenario. So, yeah, we're not overly willing to gamble that just yet. So we'll stick with the Weather Ball, we'll stick with the Hurricane. This should get Snorlax down a bit more. And hopefully trying to provoke to see what their last Pokemon is. The Excadrill protects. So we should still get the Hurricane here. Might do 20% if we're lucky. We've still got an opportunity to crit. We get the Confusion. So now it's a 1 in 3 that they hit themselves. Again, we need to keep that Weather Ball going. 1 in 3. So now they're at 2 stockpiles. But they're at 14% life, which is not good for them. They do get the leftovers, which takes them up to 20. We lose our tailwind, but we haven't lost the rain yet. So, we definitely want to keep the hurricane going. And I think we can afford to just weather ball here. They're likely going to horn drill again, maybe. Which, again, 30%. I've got to have a few goes at that. And I'll have another go. And we avoid again. So, we get our hurricane off. 2 stockpiles. This might leave it a bit healthy, but does not. So Snorlax will go down, Excadrill will go down to the weather ball, and then we'll see what they had left in the back. Yeah, so they got the lucky early fissure on our Sneasler turn 1, which was a bit of a gamble, but paid off for them. And then, yeah, we don't get to see what they had left in the back. I'm guessing it would have been Sinistra. And that came out and Trick Roomed, would have put us in a bit of trouble, but didn't. So there's our ranked battle for the new day. We're inching closer to the Master Ball. Hopefully just a couple more wins and we'll get there. We're now against Unko Powell. Let's see what they've got. So they're rocking Hydreigon, Corviknight, Mega Lucario maybe, definitely, because otherwise they've got Incineroar, Dragapult. So I think they might Incineroar Dragapult lead, so we need to cover for that. And I think that puts on a bit of pressure, gives us options to flip turn if we need to. And we could... I think we're definitely going to Mega Meganium. And we'll need probably Archeludon. Because Meganium's picking up a lot. Do we need the rain maybe against Incineroar? Yeah, I think we Pelipper in the back. Because, yeah, I think Meganium's going to be able to threaten their Hydreigon, Corviknight, Dragapult. We just got to be mindful of their Slowking down the bottom. Bit of a hidden tech. Could be their Trick Room, so they could lead with that. But let's see. Lucario and Corviknight. So, in this scenario, they could use their Corviknight to Tailwind. We're going to fake out their Lucario for now. And we'll also flip turn or Aqua Jet? We'll flip turn. We'll flip turn, we'll double into their Lucario, expecting that to Mega and just launch off an attack. Corviknight will pick up with, hopefully, Mega Meganium a bit later. Or maybe next turn, depending how this goes. So there's the fake out. Excellent. So that'll mean our flip turn is engaged. So we haven't seen anything from them, but they're now in a world of hurt, which is where we want them. Question is, do we go straight into Meganium? I don't think we can risk losing our win card so early. And again, it's paid off before, just going into the Pelipper for now. We get the rain set up. Lucario flinches and Corviknight uses Tailwind. So good to get our Pelipper in, because that was an option from them. Are we worried about our... No, I reckon if we close combat this Lucario and pop a Tailwind, we're going to be in a pretty good position going forward. The close combat will proc the White Herb, although they've Earthquaked. So, see how much damage this will do to our Sneasler. Not enough is the answer to that. So, we do get our close combat off. That Corviknight is super slow, even in Tailwind. That'll proc our White Herb, which enables our Unburden, so it'll double the speed of our Sneasler. But we're likely to see a Brave Bird here, and we do. And this will finish off the Sneasler. So then we're going to double into the Sneasler regardless what happened, which is fine. Because we have the option now to bring Basque Legion back out. And we've got our Tailwind up now. Or we can safely bring our Meganium in. But I think Basque Legion, if they bring in Incineroar or Dragapult here, having Basque Legion out is going to be a better play. So it is the Hydreigon. So our Meganium in the back is going to be doing a lot of work. We could try and put a bit of damage. No, we're definitely going to Wave Crash. What are we going to Wave Crash? I'm going to Wave Crash their Corviknight. And then we will Hurricane their Hydreigon. So Wave Crash comes out. Big damage in the rain. Not enough to KO, but enough to do big damage, which is what we want. Dark Pulse will come out and take the rest of Basque Legion. That's fine. At least it puts Corviknight down. We'll see if it has a Roost, which is another tech. So we've seen Brave Bird, we've seen Tailwind, our Hurricane onto the Hydreigon. Does a fair bit of damage. And we just see another Brave Bird. So our Pelipper is faster than their Corviknight. They take a bit of chip damage. And now we get our Mega Meganium in. So this will allow us to Dazzling Gleam. So we're likely to see the Hydreigon bow out here. So we could try and get into the slot with a Weather Ball or a Hurricane. I reckon a Weather Ball. Try and catch an Incin on the way in, or a Dragapult. But they decide to stay in. So we're protected by Flamethrower, unless they're locked into Dark Pulse, if they're Choice Scarfed. Hydreigon protects. So that's fine. We'll get our Dazzling Gleam off, which should pick up the KO on the Corviknight, hopefully. It was only on 3%, so yeah. Didn't need much to block that. And then, yeah, we got our Weather Ball whilst it's still raining. So their Tailwind has run out from their earlier turn from Corviknight. And it's Slowking. Okay. So, yeah, we definitely want to try and Dazzling Gleam again. Do we want to... We need to protect our Pelipper, because our Pelipper is the only thing that's going to be able to really take down their Slowking. But we've only got one turn of rain left, so I think we're just going to have to try and put a bit of pressure on their Slowking, because one, yeah, poison attack will definitely take our Meganium at 4 times weakness. So Hydreigon protects, fails. We get the Dazzling Gleam, which should do a little bit of damage on the Slowking. But we should be able to get our Hurricane off before the weather changes. Maybe this will confuse. Maybe we'll win this way. Yeah, because that's not doing a lot of damage either. Sludge Wave. Oh, that's big damage. AoE. We lose rain. We lose... No, Tailwind's not overly impactful here, but we're not in a good position against their Slowking. Did we have an answer for it? Not really. We brought a lot of special attackers. So, yeah, I mean, we could Weather Ball, but that's only 50. It's not going to do a lot. We can just try and Hurricane, but yeah, they'll just Sludge Wave again. I think it only did like 20%, so our only gamble here is, yeah, hitting, getting confusion, then hitting themselves, which none of that happened. So our Pelipper will go down. So, unfortunately, our climb comes to an end from a Slowking tech. So maybe Dragonite would have been the better pick then. We needed the coverage for a few of their different mons that they didn't bring, and we overlooked the Slowking down the bottom, unfortunately. So again, you've just got to try and absorb all of these different patterns and take them forward as you go into future games. But it's all good bit of fun. Let's see if we can find another opponent, and we do. Star. So let's see what they've decided to bring. Oh, it's a Starmie team. Mega Starmie, potentially Mega Gengar. I think in both scenarios, we lead with our Sneasler Basculegion. We're mindful if we bring Meganium that their Sneasler is just going to eat it alive, and Gengar. So we're kind of forced to bring our Dragonite. And then it's a question of, do we need the rain? Or do we need... I think we need rain. Gonna have to go with rain. Yeah, we're a bit locked, I think, with this, given their potential leads. Because they could lock us in with Mega Gengar, Mimikyu. That could be bad. They could also Whimsicott Garchomp. I don't know if we're going to be able to see a Mega Starmie in this battle, but we'll see what they decide to bring. So it is a Whimsicott and Sneasler. So they're kind of forced to fake out our Sneasler. So we could protect, which then enables them to encore us next turn. So let us flip turn on the Whimsicott. Whimsicott protects. So they kind of read our double then, which is bad. Oh, they just double protected. Okay, so they weren't taking any risks. They're probably scouting to see what they can on-call. And we've kind of just revealed that we were also thinking about their on-call. So let's close combat the Sneasler. And I'm still pretty committed to the flip turn. I don't think we can change now. So let's pivot. And we'll try close combat flip turn on the Sneasler. So there's the Tailwind. So now their Sneasler is going to go first with a Diaclaw on us. Hopefully not get any status. Alright, free is status. So we get a flip turn. Big damage. Excellent. This gives us opportunity to bring our Pelipper in. And saves our Basculegion for a bit later. And then, yeah, we'll close combat their Sneasler. And then Meganium would have been safe, but we didn't bring it. But that's okay. Next turn, we can set up Tailwind. Again, mindful of the on-call. So there's our White Herb, so we get double speed. So they are fishing for something to encore at the moment. Let's see who they have in the back. It's 50-50. What are they going to decide? They went with Gengar. And they're going to try and lock us into close combat, I guess. So we'll try a Diaclaw. Worst case scenario, we... do we get Basculegion in? They encore us? I think we get our Dragonite in. And we try and Tailwind. They're going to encore us and lock us in. And probably even disable it with Gengar. So swapping to Dragonite gives us at least a turn of reprieve before we get absolutely encore disable locked. Because they could just as easily disable the close combat here. But they went for Shadow Ball. Righto. And a Moonblast. Oh, okay. Moonblast on the Pelipper's not bad. We get our Tailwind up. So this is where they encore. So we know Whimsicott's probably going to encore us. So let us try and put a bit of pressure on their Mega Gengar. Yeah, I think that is the correct play. And yeah, we're going to try and Hurricane, but they're going to Encore us. We can't swap out because of the trap from Mega Gengar. But we get to preserve our Sneasler for a bit later, which will be helpful. So we've seen Shadow Ball from the Mega Gengar. There's the Encore on the Tailwind that we expected. And then, yeah, Sludge Bomb, not enough to KO. Does get the poison, though. But our Hurricane should connect. It does. Stab, Modest, come on. Not enough. So we're in a bad position here. We've got 2 turns of Tailwind. They've got a turn left. They could just as easily Shadow Ball us again. Or they can double into the Dragonite at this point. Or just Protect block. So I think we stall out for a turn. Again, can't switch, can't do anything. It's actually forcing us to use Tailwind. So we'll get forced to do that again. And that kind of shuts down the Pelipper for a few turns. So Gengar protects. Whimsicott Moonblast the... Oh, okay. Moonblast the Pelipper. We survive. We'll get a Hurricane off on their Whimsicott though. So we'll see if this was sashed or not. It was, as we expected it would be. That enables us to sneeze the threat and fake out next turn, which is good. Yeah, we're still forced to Tailwind. Dragonite will go down. Opposing side Tailwind peters out. That's good for us. We will Sneasler. Again, we still can't swap out with our Pelipper, so it's not overly impactful. What do they do? We're going to have to Diaclaw something. We're going to try and Diaclaw the Gengar, I reckon. And yeah, we're stuck Tailwinding, I guess. So hopefully they protect the Whimsicott here in the hopes that they can try and catch a Fake Out. And then they're going to Encore that. And they do. Hopefully our Tailwind puts Sneasler faster than Gengar. Gengar tries the double protect, fails. We get the Diaclaw off. And I wonder if Pelipper's no longer encored. The rain has stopped. Pelipper's Encore has ended. And we've lost our Tailwind. So that was a good turn for us. So they've got Garchomp in the back. So what do we need to take out our Garchomp? We need our Basculegion. How do I check if I still have my White Herb or not? I think we're going to have to close combat the Garchomp. And we are free to do other moves now. But our moves are kind of limited. But we will try and Hurricane without the rain. We could try Tailwind, and there. So they're going to reset up their Tailwind. They get Earthquake here, Stomping Tantrum. If we Tailwinded again, I think we would have just been encored into that. We could have read and swapped out our Pelipper, but we went with what we went with. We get a Hurricane off. That is decent chunk of change. That lets us get our Basculegion in. And we're going to Last Respects the Garchomp. And we're going to Weather Ball the Whimsicott. And Pray. Again, not being jolly. Could hurt us here. But Garchomp Quick Claw. Right-o. So yeah, we see the Dragon Claw come out. We should survive that. But the double with the Moonblast, or not a double, they've just gone for our Pelipper. That's going to boost our Last Respects. It's now 150 base power, or 200 base power. So yeah, that'll clean up the Garchomp. which leaves them with just the Whimsicott. And I don't know if a Moonblast from a Whimsicott can do 80% damage. Guess we'll find out. Unless they've got disabled. But hopefully this doesn't do enough. Unfortunately it does. Alright. So they had us clued in then. Should have maybe protected on the Pelipper. That would have bought us a turn. But then I don't know if we would have had enough base power to take out the Garchomp. Yeah, I don't know. But the Quick Claw would have caught us out as well. Alright, so yeah, we're back where we started. Bit of a roller coaster. Hope you've enjoyed. If you do, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and I appreciate your support. But until next time, take care and enjoy. Thank you.